Hey guys, it's Coach Sean McCarthy, and I am shooting this video because one of the most common questions I get is, what are some tips or what are some ideas to improve my small business? And so in this video, I am going to share with you 10 tips on things that you can do to improve your small business with or without a coach. Now, obviously, having a coach is going to help keep you accountable, help keep you on track, offer different perspectives, and most importantly, really help you take these ideas, these tips, and figure out what does that tip look like exactly for your small business. But don't worry, you can do it without a coach. I'm not saying that you have to hire a coach to implement these things. Now, I will let you know I'm going to be cheating because I've got some notes over here, and I want to make sure that I cover all the points. But the most important thing is for you as a small business owner is make sure that you're not so caught up in the day-to-day operations of your business, because if you are, these 10 tips are not going to be beneficial for you. That would really be step one, is how do you find at least a little bit of time to remove yourself from the day-to-day operations of every component of your business and spend a little time acting like the CEO or the owner or the president of your particular small business. All right, without further ado, let's get to number one. Now, number one is one that I find it doesn't matter how long people have been in business, if they're still kind of struggling a little bit to figure out business. This is probably the most important tip that I can give you. And number one is you have to know your numbers. Now, those numbers are, your financials. Those numbers are your marketing numbers, right? Where do you get leads from? Where do they come from? Those numbers are also, what does it cost you to just keep your doors open, right? So if you had no customers, what's that bare minimum? What's your cost of doing goods and services? And here's what I find is that many small businesses have no idea, or they have they don't have accurate data of the daily, the weekly, the monthlies. Those numbers are important. Obviously, looking at a full year is important, and you can somewhat work backwards. But if you want to get a better idea of what you could be doing every single month, every single week, every single day, that means you need to be tracking and monitoring those numbers, all of those numbers, including cash flow, financials, marketing. Let me ask you a question, and we'll get into marketing a little bit, but I was surprised. I had a conversation with somebody, and I had asked them, I said, would you hire an employee at $500 a month and not verify that they were showing up to work? Well, of course you would. Even if that was just a part-time employee, if you were paying them $500 a month, you would expect certain results for that. Well, the same should be true for any marketing that you're spending $300 to $500 on a monthly basis or even a weekly basis. You need to monitor. You need to see how is that employee, whatever that piece of marketing, how is that doing for you on a weekly basis, a monthly basis? And is it performing? Is it producing the results that you expect? So that's a little bit of, just a little bit of what I mean. I'm happy to talk more with you about that. But number one is know your numbers. Now, number two, it's a more obvious one, but I want to help you think about this in a different way. And number two is, a tip is set goals. Too many times I find that business owners, when they first get started, they set some amazing goals for themselves. And then as years go on, they get so caught up in the daily struggle, they get caught up in the survival mode, that they start to lose focus a little bit on their vision that they originally had for their business, and they lose focus on their goals. So, setting goals is similar, I guess, to keeping score. That's the measurement side of it. But you want to use goals to help you set ongoing, or use goals as an ongoing planning tool. So don't just set goals for the year. Break that down then into what are your quarterly goals, what are your monthly goals, what are your weekly goals, right? So begin to turn those into just little micro goals. That's really going to keep you on track, and it's going to also keep you motivated. What is it that you need to do this week to increase sales? What do you need to do this week to improve your web traffic? What is it that you need to do this week to improve your marketing or your reach? Whatever that is, right? So setting some micro goals, not just large, lofty 1-year goals or even half-year goals or quarterly goals. And then, you write them at the beginning of the year and then you stash them away in your desk and you never look at them again. No. This aspect of tip number 2 being setting goals or getting better at setting goals is more about those shorter term goals for you and your business. Number 3, use better marketing. Now, what I mean by that is too many small business owners are focused on like selling just to one person, right? So those are networking events where you go out and you're talking to one person each time, or maybe even 5 or 10 people because it's a networking event. I want you to think about, what would your marketing look like if you tried to impact, for every marketing activity you did, you actually tried to impact 100 people every single time. That's leveraging some higher impact marketing. That's leveraging your marketing to get a better return, right? So you really want to look at what's the best return on your investment, both your investment of time and your investment of money. You want to look at some marketing opportunities that are a low budget but have a high impact or a high return probability. You've got to look at those strategies. You've got to test those strategies. You've got to implement those strategies, right? Sometimes I'll refer to this when I talk with my clients of, let's look at some long shot bets. What are some things that if we did it right and everything came out just perfect, it's a very low investment, but the payoff could potentially be huge. What are some of those that could help you? And this may or may not be social media for you. This may or may not be, doing events or holding webinars. This may or may not be sponsorships for local events in your community. There are so many different opportunities that we're talking about here, but it does take a little bit of time to spend to think about it. So that's number 3 is, really look at your marketing, but more importantly is invest in, marketing that's going to get you more exposure and with less investment. All right, that leads us to number 4. Now, number 4